The light heavyweight division might be cursed. And I want to know who agrees with me. Because it's hard not to. Listen, if you all were around last night, you would know for UFC 282 that Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev for the vacant light heavyweight title ended up in a split draw. That means one judge gave it to the red corner, one judge gave it to the blue corner, and just one judge said it was a draw. So that results in the entire thing. No winner is decided, and they just have to call it a draw. And what does that mean for Jan Blachowicz? What does that mean for Magomed? What does that mean for Yuri, Glover, the title, the division? What happens next? And this is going to be kind of a I guess a two-part thing. Because this video, you guys saw the title. This is just to talk about one fight in specific. I'm going to make another one talking about what's next for the division, the fighters, the title. Just what's going to happen next. But for this video, I just wanted to make it not too long. It's just I want to discuss something that has come up recently. So during the post-fight press interviews after UFC 282, and keep in mind, this was like 30 minutes. This was under an hour after the main event happened. What happened was Dana White was getting interviewed first, and this is what he said on the interview. Just take a listen.
You do Glover versus Jamahal Hill in Brazil for the vacant title.
Is that done?
Done.
Well, you all heard what he said. Glover Teixeira, number 2 in light heavyweight. Jamahal Hill, number 7 in light heavyweight. Fighting for the still vacant title in Brazil, January the 21st. Would it be the undercard? Would it be the co-main, or would it be the main event? Because they already made the poster for Figueiredo Moreno 4. And in my opinion, even with this fight, I think Moreno Figueiredo 4 should stay the main event. Because here's the thing. And I'll make another video about this, talking about this January fight. But this is the first quadrilogy in the UFC. First ever. And these two are the first ever people in the UFC to fight each other 4 times. If nobody pulls out, that is. It's such a special occasion. 4 fights. The 4th fight. No, not even a trilogy. They had to do more than that because these two are so evenly matched. Look, the first fight was a draw. The second fight went to Moreno. The third fight went to Figueiredo. Now Moreno has the interim title, and they have to fight again for the 4th time. They're obligated to fight for the 4th time. So what happens now? What happens now is you put the first ever quadrilogy in the UFC as the main event. But if you put the vacant light heavyweight title and anticipated, a title that's been anticipated to be reclaimed now that Yuri's out with an injury, that couldn't be reclaimed last night, do you make the vacant title fight the main event or the co-main event? Do you even put them on the poster? Because you don't want to cloud up the quadrilogy with Teixeira versus number 7 ranked Jamahal Hill. And that's not any disrespect to these two. I'm just saying, like, UFC's in a weird spot. You want to know what's in an even weirder spot? Is light heavyweight. If we look at light heavyweight, Yuri Prohaska had the injury. He had to vacate the title. Glover Teixeira didn't want to take a short notice fight against Blachowicz or Magomed. So what they did was they took the co-main of Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. They made it the main event, and they made it for the vacant title. Perfect. Problem solved. Right? I already made a video about this, explaining and talking about everything and going over it and what happened. But what ended up happening now, the updated version of that story, it's now been known for a couple hours, maybe half a day, that the fight was a draw, split draw. And I'm gonna delve into this fight and even this one up here as well. I'm gonna get into those in a future video. But right now, we just gotta talk about how we got here and what happens from here. If Dana White is actually considering making this fight, Jamahal Hill is down. It's all up to Glover Teixeira. And we've talked about, okay, short notice or non-title fights or this and that. I already went over all of this. Listen, if it's against a guy who he has time to prepare for, it's like 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks or 5 weeks. No, it's 6 weeks. 6 weeks preparation time, get the contract signed and everything. You know it's going to be against this guy. He's not ranked that high. He's not even top 5. He's number 7 right now in the division. Would have been number 6, but he's number 7 right now. And it's a title fight. Then there's no reason not to take it. So what do I think Glover Teixeira or light heavyweight division goes from here? I think, well, listen. Is this the fight to make? Is this what has to happen? And if we look at the rankings, let's just look at the... Well, now we have to look at the... you know what? Let's not look at Nikita Krylov or Paul Craig because they all have fights booked. So let's just look up to number 7. Yuri Prohaska out with a terrible shoulder injury. Really bad. Not good. Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev just fought for the title. A lot of people think Magomed should have won the title. A lot of people think he won the fight. So now we got to take Jan Blachowicz out because in the court of public opinion, he lost the fight. So now we have to take him out of the equation. He can't fight Glover Teixeira again because Glover Teixeira dominated him the first time around. Magomed Ankalaev makes sense, but he did take some damage in the Jan Blachowicz fight. I don't think if he'd be able to fight for the title so soon. Maybe if you gave him a few months, he could do it. But I don't know if the UFC want to keep the title vacant for that long because they've been very quick, or Dana's being very quick to try to make the title become unvacant or to give the title to someone. Rakic, pretty sure he's still injured. He still shouldn't fight for that title anyways because he lost to Jan Blachowicz, who drew for the belt. So it wouldn't make much sense. Anthony Smith, he's coming off of a loss against Magomed. It wouldn't make sense. Anthony Smith and Jamahal Hill were scheduled to fight, I think, in March. Yeah, in March. But now Dana has made the decision to take number 2 Glover Teixeira, take number 7 Jamahal Hill, match them up for the vacant title. Is it a fight that makes sense? In a way, yes. In some weird way, it does kind of make sense. And I don't really know what much else to say about it. Just, this is really all we've got about this fight is just Dana talking about it. We've gotten a few news articles, a few MMA accounts just tweeting about this fight coming out or about it happening and all that. And yeah, Dana announced that UFC 282 post-fight press conference that Glover Teixeira and Jamahal Hill will fight for the vacant light heavyweight title in Rio de Janeiro, UFC 283. That's a fun fight. Is it a fun fight? Yes, it is a fun fight. These are two skilled opponents. Jamal Hill is way better than I expected him to be. He definitely showed up for the Thiago Santos fight that I thought he was gonna lose. Glover Teixeira, always a game opponent. He's I think he's 43 now. Yeah, he's not 44. He's 43. So obviously, he's nearing retirement. He wants that belt back. He wants to retire probably with the belt as well. Jamal Hill, younger guy. Let me see how old he is. He's 31. He's not that young actually, but he's the younger guy. He's like more than a decade younger. He's 11-1. He's only had 12 fights professionally, and in the UFC he's had less. Actually, he's had a lot of fights in the UFC. I can't lie, but the veteran Glover Teixeira, older guy, 33-8. Lot of wins, lot of fights. Jamal Hill, kind of the newer age guy, 11-1. It's kind of like veteran versus somewhat new age. When did he make his debut? In 2020. Yeah, he is kind of that new age kind of group of fighters. So this is a very interesting fight to make. And I think the fans are going to be, I don't know if they're going to be somewhat split on who's going to win. Maybe they're going to have trouble deciding who wins, but I think I've sort of got my pick on who I think will win. Even though one of them has a chance, I think the other one takes it. So that's pretty much all we know about this fight. We don't know much else. Again, this is really the only information we have about it was Dana's interview. Still a relatively new subject. It was first talked about just a couple hours ago again. So, yeah, it's a fun fight, and I hope the light heavyweight division becomes cured.